What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more Am I the Butthole? Every time I've been doing that recently, I almost go into a rendition of Dirty Dancing, Had the Time of My Life, but I don't know where it comes from. Anyway, if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's just jump straight into today's stories. Much love, guys. And our first story comes from a throwaway account titled, Am I the arsehole for taking my friend to court after she kicked me out of the bridal party for cutting my hair? For my friend's 3-day wedding, I had to buy 3 different dresses, including alterations and specific shoes which totaled over $700. She also wanted specific hairstyles for each day. Unfortunately, starting in March, my hair started to deteriorate. Due to health reasons, my hair was falling out in chunks, and in May, I made the difficult decision to cut my hair. I told the bride about my decision 2 weeks before the wedding, and she didn't say anything bad. The following week, she came over to my house when she was about to leave. She brought up that she was concerned about my haircut, and I told her it would look good even though I wouldn't be uniform with the other bridesmaids. The following day, I received this message. After our recent conversations, I'd like to remind you of my boundaries. I've been very accommodating and graceful, but I can't allow you to disrespect me. As you know, my wedding has been something I've dreamt of for many years. Husband and I have invested a lot of money into the video and photos of this day, and as we reflect on this day in the further, we want to see our vision reflected in the memories. Since I asked each of you to be a bridesmaid in 2019, I've been very clearly and very communicative in my request. The timing of your decision to cut your hair and not income in advance is very upsetting to me. I would have felt respected if you had communicated with me more than a week prior to the wedding, so we could have worked together to find a collaborative solution. Your inconsistencies have concerned me, and while I sympathise with your health concerns, I'm not willing to compromise my vision to accommodate you or anyone else. Well, you have informed me in advance, and we could have found a better solution. Since this is something you can no longer fully commit to, I need you to please step down from participating in my wedding. This was 3 days before the wedding. I immediately sent her and her husband an invoice asking them to reimburse the dresses and shoes, keeping in mind that one of the dresses is still in her possession, even though I paid for it. Neither of them replied, so I decided to take it to court. I was told I was inconsistent and selfish after I spent the past 2 weeks helping her plan the wedding shower. I worked with another bridesmaid to surprise her with a bridal shower after our bachelorette trip had to be cancelled. I spent hours helping her with wedding details. When she asked me to help her tone up before the wedding, I sent her a personalised workout program, even went with her to the gym to show her the ropes. When I agreed to be a bridesmaid, I was more than willing to oblige with what she asked, even at times it was a lot of time and money. So am I the arsehole for taking her to court because she kicked me out for cutting my hair? Now what a huge bridezilla. And I understand weddings are like about your special day and people see them in a certain way, but surely more important is having your friends at your side. That's why you pick them as bridesmaid. They're your close friends, the people that support you through thick and thin. And it sounds like OP did, but they still treat their friend like absolute crap, even though they're having to cut their hair due to medical issues. But obviously there's potential for me to be wrong in this one. I've never had to pick a bridesmaid before. I've never had to set up a wedding before. So let's check out the comments to see what they say. And we'll start with AJ Wordsmith, who says, not the arsehole. Should have had the lawsuit served to her at the altar. And Cascade says, I mean, not the arsehole. She's a massive arsehole and should pay you the money. She won't because she's a massive entitled arsehole. But I'm guessing you don't have any sort of written contract. Depending on the verbal contract laws where you are, I suppose you can argue that expenses were incurred on the agreement that you were in the bridal party. On the other hand, if she's been much of a control freak bridezilla, as you say, she might be able to evidence that a reasonable person would know that in this wedding, changing physical appearance would be seen as a breach of expectations/VC by making themselves unsuitable for the bridal party. It's going to be a hell of a thing to argue successfully in court. Singery says, not the arsehole, not one bit, and quotes, I can't allow you to disrespect me, and then says, and then she turns around and utterly disrespects you and your friendship. What a horrible, heartless friend she is. You've done your absolute best to be involved with her wedding/bridal shower, and helping her so much in addition to paying hundreds for your dresses, etc. And she kicked you out because of your hair, for which you have an extremely valid reason for cutting, and even if you didn't, it'd be absolutely ridiculous for her to do and say all this. I'm baffled. I can only imagine how you're feeling. All the best to you. Hoost07 says, I might get downvoted, but in my opinion, everyone sucks here. Your friend, Bridezilla, is most definitely an A, and her tone and attitude is terrible. Even trying to give her the benefit of the doubt she's dealing with pre-wedding nerves and stress, it is unacceptable. But you say that you immediately sent her an invoice. I think that further escalation to small claims could have potentially been avoided had you attempted to contact your friend and tried to work towards reimbursement first. Even something as simple as, I respect your decision and will not participate as a bridesmaid, however, I incurred some expenses for alterations in clothing. In the event that I'm not able to return these items, I'd like to be reimbursed. In my opinion, jumping straight to sending them an invoice and subsequently initiating a lawsuit right before someone's wedding does make you an asshole as well. OP replies to that saying, I did actually send her a message very similar to that. I told her that I accepted her decision and that it was heartbreaking that I wouldn't be standing by her side because this is something she has said she dreamt about since we became best friends. When I didn't get a response to that, I tried calling her, hoping we couldn't talk over the phone. She never picked up. I also tried messaging her husband, asking him to talk to her, but he never responded to me. It was 2 days after no response that I submitted my small claims court. Occam's Lizard replies to that saying, I strongly disagree. They make you pay all this money and kick you out because of a health issue. Fuck that. Recoup your losses, OP. To which Texas Tornado replies to that saying, I disagree with your opinion. The bride is entitled to kick anyone out of their wedding for whatever reason. You're not entitled to be a part of someone's wedding party for any reason. The bride is only an arsehole in the fact they didn't immediately reimburse them for the expenses. Health issues do not give you an excuse to go against the bride's wishes. As far as methods to recoup losses, all we have is some text to go by. I'm sure there is a bride side to this story as well, but regardless, it should have been made immediately clear when she kicked her out of the party. And we'll have one more comment from DMDW who says, honestly, I'd say everyone sucks here. She's clearly a nutball, but jumping so quickly to legal action is not a sign of a good friend, even if she wasn't a good friend towards you. Maybe it's the American litigious culture versus the British apology culture, but I'd have thought the first solution would be to compromise or at least communicate that you're willing to wait for them to recover from the significant stress and expense of a wedding before they reimburse you. Even if you win, you'll both end up out of pocket with legal fees, and your friends will all know never to ask anything of you again or they'll end up in court. Now, I would love an update on this one at some point in the future. I shall keep an eye out for it because I want to know what happened in court. So we may find out one day. But what are your thoughts on this one? Some different comments there as well. Let me know your thoughts and we'll move on to the next story. And our next story comes from Dark Sun New. Am I the arsehole for telling my ex-co-worker's employer the reason why she was ostracized at the company? This story actually takes place over multiple years. So here goes. Also, English isn't my first language, so I apologize for my poor language skills in advance. A little background, I work in corporate HR. My company has a very generous maternity leave policy. It gives you 26 paid weeks off, plus gives you the option of taking a month or so more if you have an extra sick or personal leaves left, or else you can take unpaid leave for the same time. So part of my responsibilities is to make recommendations for select employees for specific projects. So a couple of years ago, there was a huge project that needed a team to be created for. Being a part of a project like this would normally establish your career in the industry. You could basically decide your own career path on the back of the reputation you get based on a project like this. It would be hectic and difficult, but worth it in the end. We interviewed prospective people within the company and selected a core team that would take it up. Among this team was M, a recently married female who is generally thought to be a hard worker and quite knowledgeable. Like with everyone else, we interviewed her for the spot and asked her if she wanted to be a part of this project. However, a month or so, M announces that she was pregnant and that she would be taking her maternity leave in a month's time. She would be completely unavailable for around 7 months or so and basically leave the team short-staffed for the major part of the project. We had to quickly select a replacement, get them up to speed and have them take over. It meant more work for everyone, minor delays, etc. What pissed off the top management was that M knew she was pregnant when she joined the team. She never mentioned it during the interview. By not telling anyone in advance, everyone felt that she couldn't be trusted in the future. She basically became a pariah and no team lead wanted her in any critical projects. Within a year, M realised she progressed much in her career in this particular company and left for another job. Fast forward a little while and I was talking with the HR guy from the company M had joined and he asked me about her. And I told him the truth, both that she was a good worker and is dedicated, but that she is not really honest or trustworthy. I told him the story in detail. Now this basically meant that M gets a similar treatment in the new company. She is considered a good employee and a team player, but no one wants to select her for any critical projects. Some of my friends say that telling the HR guy about the incident makes me an arse. It has gotten me to feel a bit guilty, and I wasn't sure what the right move should have been. So Reddit, what do you think? Am I the arsehole? P.S. Please feel free to ask for more information, if you need it, but no details of the industry or company, for security and privacy reasons. Edit 1, just to be clear, M knew she was pregnant when she was being considered for the project. She wanted to be in the project so didn't disclose it. Her team had to stretch themselves thin to make it up. Our company, as a general rule, has no issues with women taking time off for pregnancy, even beyond the policy mandated time. The most I've come across is women getting 15 months off. She came back to work and faced no repercussions. I should have mentioned this before, but HR guy was formally asking me about M. It wasn't like I was talking about her at the pub. Edit 2, I don't know where people got the idea she was just a month into the pregnancy when she was interviewed. Just to clarify, she was pregnant long enough that she knew she wouldn't be completing the project. She didn't mention it because she wanted the project on her resume. Our company never punishes an employee for taking maternity leave or in general any medical leave. But in this case, team leads did not want her on their team for high profile projects after she returned, because they didn't trust her to be forthright. And we're going to start straight away on this one with Horror Question, who says, you're the arsehole. Laws may be different where you are. You haven't said a location, but in America, what you did would have not only been an arsehole move, but an illegal one. We have laws to protect workers against that kind of bullshit. You had absolutely no business whatsoever having that conversation. Money Guru says 100% you're the arsehole. She didn't have to tell you she was pregnant when interviewing for a project. What you did was ethically wrong. As someone in HR, you should have known better than to do that. If you're in the US, she can sue for this. Mendel Brot's cat replies to that saying, she didn't have to say she was pregnant. The only obligation she had was not committing to a responsibility she knew she wouldn't be able to fulfill. She chose to make that commitment in the full knowledge and intent of not fulfilling it. The reason for which she wasn't available is irrelevant. She said she would do something she had no intention of doing. The word for that is lying, and as a direct result of her lie, several colleagues, including the other mothers on the project, had to put in additional labour and time to cover. Regardless of what legalities may or may not obtain, morally, OP is absolutely in the clear for sharing this very relevant information with her new employer. Protected category does not mean exempt from the standards of ethical behaviour. Curie Puri says, not the arsehole. You mentioned in a comment that she admitted to knowing she was pregnant and wouldn't be there for 80% of the project, but didn't tell anyone because she wanted it on her resume. In that case, she definitely isn't a team player and admitted to it as well. Mermaid replies to saying, hi, I have a genuine question for all the you're the arsehole responses. I'm a woman, and while reading this, I thought he wasn't the arsehole. I don't know much about HR work, so that could be it, but could someone explain it to me? I'm aware that you can't have someone miss work opportunities because they are pregnant, but she missed basically the entire project. It feels pretty unfair to me that she knew that she would miss probably 90% of a massive project and didn't tell anyone. Can someone help me out? Also, I understand how he's the arsehole for telling the new HR guy a few years later, but I don't understand how he was originally. Majestic says, I'm probably going to be downvoted for this, but not the arsehole. They asked your opinion and you were honest. She was dishonest in the recruitment process and caused stress to the team. Starry Misconception says you're the arsehole, a huge one. No woman is required to disclose her pregnancy, and in fact it's illegal to ask in interviews in some places. If it was a man, you never would have done this, and your company wouldn't have blacklisted her. You and your company are misogynistic, punishing a woman for having a child and then ruining her future opportunities. Get over yourself. Anon says not the arsehole. You may get beat up over the whole pregnancy as private thing, but it's like anything else. If you know you can't complete a project for any reason and hide it, you don't deserve a reputation as someone who can be trusted. And one more from Tiny Rascalsaurus, who says, you're the arsehole. M may have learned her lesson from what she did at your company. You basically made sure her bad decision followed her and gave her no second chance. You have no way of knowing she would do it again, but took it upon yourself to tell the story around and ruin her chances in place that didn't concern you. Now, what do you guys make of this one? Who is the arsehole in this situation? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and we'll move on to another story. And our next story comes from a string of numbers. Am I the arsehole for reporting my son's doctor? My son is 6 and his doctor is one of those self-absorbed, I know everything and you know nothing type of people. My son has a lot of behavioural problems. I won't get into it all here, but it's not normal kid behaviour. Spacing out completely for easily 10 minutes and not being able to get his attention at all. Refusing to hang out with kids, ever. He just sits and watches them play by himself. He is far beyond kids his age, education-wise, but well below on the social aspect of it. He gets anxious easy, scared easy, hates loud noise, doesn't really talk, etc. His teachers want me to get him evaluated. They've raised concerns multiple times. I told his doctor this repeatedly for 2 years. Something isn't right. His doctor always brushes me off and tells me that it's because I've given him too much or I'm too easy on him and let him get away with it, so now it's normal. He basically says my parenting is lacking or I'm a helicopter mum and that's why he acts like this. He only sees my kid but once a year. 2 weeks ago, while my son was enrolled in advanced science camp, his teachers brought up his behaviour again. Apparently a kid tried hanging out with him and my son started crying uncontrollably and they couldn't calm him. I brought it up with the doctor again and his doctor gave me a wicked attitude and said fine, all I can do is offer a referral for OT, but not the one in this clinic because I'm not wasting my colleague's time. You can go to the one in Belfast. Belfast is 2 hours away. I immediately reported him. I've dealt with a lot for the past 2 years from this guy and asked for a doctor to change multiple times just to get ignored. And I've had enough. So I reported him and now he's being investigated. I've had multiple people calling me and asking details of the appointments because apparently this man hasn't noted anything in my son's file. My friend who is also a doctor said that I'm a fucking arsehole for acting like a Karen because this guy will lose his doctorate if they find anything and we're already short on doctors due to the pandemic. Am I the arsehole? Stories of reporting nurses and doctors, we always encourage it if something isn't right, which there's clearly something not right in this story. You know there's something going on with your son and you want it looked at. The teachers have even said that would be an idea to get your son evaluated. And instead of your doctor helping you, which they're meant to be doing, they played down your concerns. Which is not fair on you, it's not fair on your son. It doesn't help the school in dealing with your son, getting him the right lessons, the right aids to assist your son in his school life as well. And it all comes from this doctor and his shit attitude. And if he thinks he's all clear and it's all good and your friend thinks he's clear, then it should be fine. The investigation is going to show nothing. They're already not finding notes on your son because he hasn't been noting them, which just says what he's like. And you, by flagging this concern, you could be potentially helping other people who's under this doctor as well. And it's incredibly frustrating. Had this with my father, we had to change a doctor with him because the doctor kept playing down his concerns while he was going through his cancer. And he was having breathing difficulties because it was a lung-based cancer. And we told the doctors about it. The doctor said it's all a part of the process, which it absolutely wasn't because we were seeing it day to day. We eventually went to another doctor. They gave him a drug and that sorted him out within 24 hours. Obviously, the process continued, but it made him more comfortable, which is all he was looking for. So absolutely not the arsehole at all. Let's check out some comments to see what they say. Front World says not the arsehole. Your son might have ADHD or something of that sort. Doctors are supposed to help you, and people like him make it hard to get a diagnosis. Edit, he could have a seizure or be on the spectrum, either or, he should get a new doctor. Blue Carnation says not the arsehole. Crappy doctors do crappy work, as shown in your son's medical record. Your friend isn't a friend. Stop sharing info with that one. Blarty97 says, the doctor has not taken what you said about your son seriously. This is indicated by the fact that he has kept no records. Meantime, your son is spending years of his short life without any investigation leading to a potential diagnosis and support. If the doctor did feel your son needed any intervention, the least he could have done is investigated and ruled things out. The doctor was the arsehole, not you, not the arsehole. Final Blade Style says not the arsehole, report that doctor if he's doing this to you, he's doing it to others. Also sorry for the backseat diagnosis here, but it sounds like he has autism and ADHD like I have. His behaviour sounds like how I behaved when I was roughly his age. If it helps, get him to a TSS worker. For him, it helped me. Whiskey Gambler says not the arsehole, if he loses his job it's because he failed to actually do it properly. He should not be allowed to fail other children like this. The fact that he noted nothing in your son's file proves that the doctor is focused on taking the easy way out instead of, actually helping the kid that he's meant to. You're potentially saving so many other kids from suffering, helping to get adequate help by reporting him. I hope that your son can see a behavioral therapist or better doctor regularly, if necessary, and get the help and support that he needs. I'm sorry that you have not been listened to for years. What says, not the arsehole, but I find it a tad odd that you didn't go elsewhere the first or second time he dismissed your worries. It sounds like your son is on the spectrum, but as teachers said, you should get him evaluated. The doctor was an arsehole, and same for your doctor friend. They should have taken you seriously and written a referral. If anything, should have gone on your own. Next time, trust your instincts, don't let someone dismiss them. OP replied to this saying, I tried going to a different practice, but currently he has been on the waiting list for almost 10 months for an opening. We only have 2 practices where we live, not including the practice at the hospital, but the one in the hospital is for state insurance only, or low-income families. We don't fit the criteria, unfortunately. And that's a sad state of affairs that many families have to deal with as well. Let me know what you guys think of this story and all of today's stories. I would love to know your opinions, thoughts in the comments below if you choose to share them. Never any pressure though either. And just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for being involved into today's stories and getting involved, with the channel, liking, all that kind of good stuff. It always blows my mind. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.